Hi, I'm Elliot. I had the distinguished honor of being the first dedicated internal finance hire at Ironclad, which means that I got to play and I got to tinker around with Ironclad to see how we could use it to build our own internal finance team and our own internal finance operations. Now, if you flash back to a year ago, COVID hit. Everyone went remote overnight and the economy paused. People in my shoes had no idea what was going to happen. Were we going to book any new deals for the rest of the year? Was our revenue going to go to zero? Was there going to be a business in 2 months from now? Knowing all those things, we knew we had to make a very quick switch. We had to stop from thinking about all the new business we had been generating and transfer immediately to thinking about, well, what payment obligations do we have for cash that is going out of the business? So in partnership with the legal ops team, I built a procurement workflow that could identify which are the payment obligations for contracts that were in flight before they were signed, even before your accounting team needs to go up and follow up with each stakeholder to figure out, did you actually buy this? It really cost that much? Did you even have the approvals? So that's the problem we're looking to solve. Without further ado, I'm going to hop in. So it's worth noting that for this workflow, we've had 3 recent iterations. This is the most recent one. The workflow both supports everything on your own paper, so Ironclad's own paper, and the counterparty paper. The number one thing I'd like to highlight here, and when you look at the procurement third-party workflow, it's simple. Simple language for simple business users. We thought about this making it absolutely idiot-proof. So if you had somebody at your company that wanted to do something like, say, buy a crate, drop in the middle of Fort Mason, they would be able to figure out the workflow. And they could move through it as seamlessly as your most sophisticated business user could. Now, on the second side, visibility. I love working at a contracts company, and I love reading. I do not love reading the 10th page of a contract. I don't really think anybody does. And so when you look at the workflow here, it allows you to do certain things that are pretty interesting. You can look at the term length. I can see what the annual payment amount is. If it's a multi-year, is it the same for year 2 as year 1? In the old world, really hard to grok this information. You would have it transferred on manual Excel spreadsheets. Hopefully you had an amazing accounts payable person that could figure all this out. But now, all anybody ever has to do is look at Ironclad, because the procurement workflow tracks all of this and allows visibility for the entire thing. Now third, and this is actually my favorite feature, ownership and approvals. So in the old world, someone would pay for something, and you ask the question, well, did you have approval? Did the head of your department really say you could buy that? Now, if you go to the launch form of the contract, you can do things like click on a certain department. At Ironclad, we have engineering, product, and design. You click on there, and if I want to buy a design tool, it's right here. So nothing will ever get its way to sign unless all the folks in the company who need to sign off on it have already signed off on it. And lastly, it helps supporting new functions and spinning up new parts of the business super easy. So you go into here, Mary just joined the team. We're so happy to have her on board. She's standing up her community function. She's going to be building her team and also looking at different types of tooling to enable her and her group's success. So I might want to add her as an approver. I'm going to go in, I'm going to type here, I'll type community. I'm going to go in, and now anything that gets flowed through community on the Ironclad procurement workflow gets routed straight to Mary. She's off to the races. So let's look at the results. As you think about what happened over the past year, we were pretty fortunate. We had a good business year, and we're getting ready to go back to life, hopefully a little bit as it used to be in the past. That with all of that said, now we have the AP workflow, which means as we're thinking about future growth, we can also meter that and dial it up or down to think about how we're going to invest in the business, to make sure that as we think about the next 2, 5, and 10 years of Ironclad, that we have the right level of approval, controls, and visibility in order to drive ultimately towards the strategic vision of the company. So if you ever want to talk about Ironclad for finance, how to leverage the platform for internal financial operations, or anything on that end, feel free to hit me up. I'm down to talk at any time.